Hi all. Today we're looking at a few things. We're looking at the fact that everything is you showing you to you in reality. We're looking at how this influences timeline jumps, what perception is, and how we can grow and integrate duality within the matrix as to wake up from it. In other words, how we can use the projections of ourselves in others in order to get to know ourselves and wake up from this confusion that we have to outsource what we need from others. So firstly, everything is you showing you to you. So as I have explained in previous videos, we are in a holographic universe. And if you look at Indra's web, which is a spider web full of little droplets, every droplet is reflecting every single other droplet. So we are a microcosm of the macrocosm. Also, we can never really know another person. As many people as you have ever met, so many versions there are in other people's minds of you, because they all have different memories, different experiences, different conversations, as well as their own internal projections, right? Of what they think you are. So what is projection again? Projection is when we project the unowned parts of ourselves onto another. That could be light or that could be dark. So we see it in another, because the psyche wants to integrate. The psyche knows that we are all one, but consciously we do not know this. So when we disown aspects within ourselves, we project them onto other people. Sometimes this is just a light projection, and it can be pulled back and it can help us to grow. Other times it's deeply, deeply triggering. And if we don't do the work, we will shun the mirror, we will throw it away. But everything being you, showing you to you, does not only extend to other people, it extends to circumstances as well, because we experience reality through the filters of our own understanding, right? So the stories that we tell ourselves, if we have a predominantly monotheistic religious story, we might say, God works in mysterious ways. I don't know why this is happening. Or like Job's friends, we might think something is happening to us because we're being punished. But from a Jungian lens, everything that happens is informing us about who we are, right? It's informing us where we have blind spots and where we still need to grow. Because the moment we attach to something really intensely by either judging it or over evaluating it, we can know that it is a part of ourselves that we have disowned, right? Therefore, it is us showing us to ourselves, because reality has vested interest in growth, consciousness, and self-awareness. The universe, you are an aperture through which the universe sees itself. Now, most people are not aware of this, and this judgment, this projection, is what actually allows the illusion of separateness. And the illusion of separateness is, it's needed for us to be able to develop our egos before we can begin with individuation, right? And individuation is being the most you that you can be. I'll be the most Quibi that Quibi can be. And then also integration, right? So it's once again a divine dichotomy. So how does this work with regards to timelines? So perception is reality. And if you're moving in the story that you've always been told, you're not really going off script. But the moment you can integrate divine dichotomies, opposites, right, and expand your frame of reference, in effect, you're going off script. And the more you go off script, the more the reflection needs to change, because the reflection is showing you who you are. And if we view this, like I've said before, like a video game on a DVD. On that DVD, all the options of the roads and places you can go to already exists. And time is the movement of consciousness. So we are not moving through this thing linearly. Everything is happening all together at the same time. There's that movie. It's very cool. And the moment we go off script, the simulation, for the lack of a better word, does not have the bandwidth to accommodate the change, and then we timeline jump. This is where the Mandela effects then come into it, because as a society we've grown tremendously in the last 4 years, or at least those of us who are doing the work, who sees what's going on, who also saw what happened with the pandemic, and who are doing the internal work. When we then jump, right? Firstly, we don't view the world through the same insecurities and the same programming. So in the same people, we can now see more. Because remember that saying, people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. You can only see what you have bandwidth and capacity to see. Otherwise, you're just seeing projection. But the deeper you get to know yourself, the deeper you can see other people. The deeper you do not judge yourself anymore, the deeper you cannot judge others anymore. And when you do this to an extreme level, you legitimately timeline jump. And then, you know, there might be glitches and you're not with Walter anymore. Now you're with Walternate. So don't use this as an excuse to try and grow to the point where you can change people in your life, because remember, we do have free choice. This is not a solipsistic universe. Other people do exist, right? They do exist, and they have free choice. So yes, we can never truly see another person. We can only see our own perceptions of them. And yes, from a much higher perspective, they are you in a different incarnation. And we have all been each other in different incarnations, because we are all God viewing itself from different perspectives. So it might be that you view a person in a certain way, and as you do a lot of shadow work, as you go off script, as you expand your frame of reference, you might start to like a person that you never liked, right? They didn't change, you did. Because now you do not project as much, because you've integrated your shadow. So this is how we change reality. The moment we want to change people out there, we are forgetting this massive truth. But the wonderful thing is, the universe will always bring us what we need to see in order to grow. So in other words, this is why you know, something never goes away until it teaches you what you need to learn. Why the same pattern will come up over and over and over and over. It's not the universe punishing you, right? It's you showing you to you. It's your choice, deep unconsciously from the higher self. And therefore it's a blessing. So if something comes up over and over and over and over again, look at it, right? What is this showing to me? And a very good question that you can ask yourself is, if the universe is friendly, which it is, why is this happening? What is this showing me about myself? Not about the other person, about myself. Because our point of power is in changing ourselves. Then we might move away from people that trigger us, or we might just see them completely differently. And yes, not everyone does this work. Not everyone has the ability to grow, but our need to change them and our frustration with them not changing is actually us not wanting to do the work on ourselves, because we are afraid of rejection, afraid of isolation, afraid of being the outsider. But if you move at the speed of light, everything is dark, right? Light cannot catch up if you're moving at the speed of light. So if you're a front runner and you're doing this work, isolation and loneliness would be part of the contract, because it's only in isolation that we can really let go of the mirrors and see ourselves for who we are. And then when we move into reality, we don't project as much. So I hope that that helps. Yeah, I hope that that helps. Have a lovely day, everyone.